Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Ron coming back to you, of course, with another episode of Boomer Life Lessons and Stories. This is episode number 77, I believe, and we're vastly approaching that major milestone, 100. I'm not sure what we're going to do when we reach episode 100, but perhaps we'll do something a little special. Not sure yet. I'll have to consult with the boss and see what the puppet master thinks we should do. Oh, by the way, the puppet master is my wife, right? Of course, everybody knew that. She's always putting little notes, making fun, poking fun at me, which is, I suppose, as it should be. But in any case, what are we going to be talking about today? Well, how about thriving versus surviving and what that means for you? It is a mindset, and we're going to talk more about that in just a moment. But if you could, please like, share, and subscribe. So I suppose, as we start this discussion, we need to get a better understanding of what the difference is between thriving and surviving. And of course, what I will do and what I've already done is turn to the Webster Third Collegiate Edition, 1988, and read through that definition. And I think we're going to find some interesting things about it. But basically, when I looked up thriving, it said, of course, to thrive is to prosper or flourish. And then something that was kind of unexpected, it said to grasp, to grasp. That's kind of an interesting definition. And I believe I understand what it was pointing to. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment. Then it went on to say, to thrive is to be successful, to grow vigorously. And I like that definition. To thrive is to grow vigorously. And I think it's more talking about plant life, but it can also talk about us as individuals. And then it said something that really kind of is the apex or at the top of the list of definitions that I like. It said to thrive is to grow luxuriously or luxuriantly. And what that means is you're not just thriving, you're doing something more than thriving. You're being highly successful. We're going to talk about all of this in just a moment. Now, of course, we have to turn to the other side of things. And that is, if we're not thriving, we're simply surviving. So what does that mean, to survive? Well, it kind of basically simply means to live or exist, or to continue to live, to survive, to continue to live. I kind of think more in lines of this discussion is to live or simply exist. Or my paraphrase of all that would be, Professor Ron's, is to just get by. So I guess the question I would ask you, which I led into this episode with, is which would you rather do? Would you rather simply just get by, survive? Or would you rather grow vigorously and luxuriantly in your personal life and in your professional life? Would you like to thrive in everything that you do? I don't think I don't think this is a trick question. I think it is an easy answer. At least I suppose most of us out there in YouTube land would rather say, I want to thrive in my personal life and in my professional life. And actually, if I'm just talking about the YouTube landscape, a lot of people are out there working hard so that they might thrive and not simply survive. So perhaps I'm preaching to the choir, as the old saying goes. But be that as it may be, I believe that whether you're just starting out in your working career, or you're mid-career, or you're tending toward the end of your career and you're looking forward to what's next, no matter where you are, I think most of us are going to want to thrive in whatever endeavor we take up. So how do you do that? Really, that's what leads in to the next phase of this discussion. How do you do that? I firmly believe it takes a change of mind. It takes a change of mindset. When we talk about settings with instruments, we talk about calibrating the instrument so that it is able to get a measure of goodness. And how does it do that? It measures the gap of where something is versus the standard of which it should be. And that gap is a measure of goodness. One could take the pessimistic view and say that gap is also the measure of badness. How far away are you from where you want to be? So we really need to begin to think of our mind, our brain as an instrument, and we need to recalibrate it so that we might get it to the right settings. We're in the right frame of mind. So there is a big difference between thriving and surviving, and this word that we append as a prefix to it, striving toward one or the other. So how do you change your mindset? Well, literally, and I've spoken of this in the past, we are programmed from little children on up into our teens, early teens, and late teens and adulthood. We're programmed on how to navigate the world in which we find ourselves. We're programmed with a world view. And that worldview says things like, if you work hard and you strive at doing the right thing, you're going to get ahead as long as happenstance doesn't get in the way. And I can't predict happenstance. I wish I could be that person that looks into the future and is able to say, here's that future state. If you don't like it, here are the things that you need to do. But because we don't know what that future state is going to be, and that future state is brought about by happenstance and, of course, the things that we do today. And I would say that the things that we do today outside of happenstance are the building blocks of getting us to that future. They're the building blocks in terms of creating the future we want to be in. So in that programming, you have to begin thinking about, how am I going to expend my energy? What am I going to do with my time when I'm not focused on making a living for my family? And by the way, you can do this whether it's in your professional career, making a living for your family, or in your personal time, in your personal life. It doesn't really matter because we want to thrive. We want to thrive in both the personal and professional life. We don't want to just get by. We strive to thrive, not strive to get by. Striving just to get by, to me, is a waste of energy, right? So if we're just getting by, we need to recalibrate our brain and think about the things we need to do differently and how we spend our time and what we're doing to build skills and awareness in ourselves. Because we go back to that old definition of insanity, which again, I've spoken about in previous episodes. That old definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting each time to get a different result. Well, no. If you've done something and it's not successful, doing it again in the same way, in the same manner, and expecting different results is a bad plan, right? If you want to get better, you have to do something different, right? You have to take on new activities. You have to expend your energy in different directions, and you have to do it in an informed way. So we have to better educate ourselves. And by the way, that could be formal or informal. We begin to educate ourselves by reading more, by having discussions with experts, by even going to class, perhaps, or a seminar. And we find that we're able to do things that we were not able to do before. One of the biggest barriers for me in my past life, early on in my adult life, was a fear of failure. And that fear of failure was calibrated into me because I was always told to work hard and be successful. And that's a good message, but it painted a picture of failure as something bad and you should prevent from happening at all costs. And although we want to prevent failure, not necessarily at all costs, but we want to prevent it, it's not such a bad thing in many instances. And why is that? Failure teaches us. So somebody might say, I simply accept that I failed and I'm going to move on. Well, okay, get past it. And now you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do differently? Well, I'm not sure. Well, did you take stock of why you perhaps failed or didn't do as well as you expected? Well, no. Did you not capture your lessons learned that might enlighten you of what caused you to fail and perhaps maybe what you should do differently? Well, no. Well, don't you think you should? You see, it's a change of mindset. It's a change of where you expend your energy. It's a difference in want to and not wanting to. You know, a lot of people work to live and they don't live to work, right? And I will tell you this, working to live and living to work are the extremes. And happy, successful, healthy people lie somewhere in between. So if you're working simply to live or just to get by, you're not going to thrive. You're not striving to thriving if you're simply working to get by, you know? We want to grow very vigorously. We want to grow luxuriantly in our personal life and in our professional life. And working and doing the things that just allow us to get by is not going to get you there. It's not going to get you into that state of thriving. And you're not going to be happy with yourself or the place you find yourself in that point in your life, whether you're just starting out your career, you're mid-career, or you're tending toward the end of your career, looking for what's next. So the mindset is simply this. We get up and get busy. We take stock of where we are, who we are, where we want to be, and what we want to be. And then we build a plan. And we start building those skills and understandings and awareness by educating ourselves, preventing ourselves from becoming obsolete. If there's a new innovation over here, we go and look at it and analyze it and see what it means to us in our personal life and in our professional life. If there's a new innovation or process over here, we do the same thing. We attack it vigorously so that we can understand what it means to us and our family and our career. In other words, what it's going to mean to us next. And if we do these things, if we understand that what we do today and how we construct the future with the building blocks that we're able to manipulate, that will get us to that better place where we're thriving and not simply surviving. So you see, my friends, this is a very short episode, but I think it's a very important one. You have to ask yourself, do I want to thrive or do I want to survive? Do I want to grow luxuriantly, or do I want to just get by? I think you know the answer to that. So you can't do the same thing over and over again, knowing that you're only going to survive. You have to change your mindset. You change your mindset, you change your life. You change your mindset, you change the direction in which you're expending your energy and your time. And with that, my friends, I think we're done. Be all you can be by working hard and working to thrive and not simply get by. And I think you'll do well for yourself and your family. And with that, you take care, all the best, and I will see you in the next episode.